Hi there, welcome back to Needle Felting Practice Drills, volume number 2. Today we are going to be doing curved lines. I'm going to show you how to do all of these curved lines that you see here, as well as outlining something, a shape that you might already have on your mat. And this will be number 2 in a series of lots of different techniques. So be sure to subscribe and stay tuned so that you can catch all of them. My name is Kathy, this is More Fun with Felt, and welcome back to my channel. What you're going to need for this video today is just any piece of felt. It doesn't matter, it can be used already, sort of worked on, it doesn't matter, we're just practicing. So any piece of felt, you'll need your felting mat and some carded wool. This is just 2 different colors of carded that I have on hand. And you'll need some long staple wool. By long staple, I just mean that when you pull it, the staple length is probably anywhere from 5 to 6 inches. It could be a merino wool. This is a baby alpaca. It doesn't matter as long as it's something thin and long like that, just to help you get used to the different types of wool that you'll be using. Then you need some needles. I have with me today a 40 triangle, a 42 triangle, and a 38 triangle. So that'll be enough to get you started. If you only have one needle, just use what you have. You don't have to, have a specific one. I think it's good to try different types of needles on the lines, just to get a feel for what needle works best with your wool. You may also want to either make 2 little balls like this. This is a 1-inch pre-felted ball, or you could purchase them. I can put a link in the description. If you just want to make one out of some core wool, it just takes a few minutes. I do have a video that'll show you exactly how to do this. This is a picture of what the video thumbnail looks like, so you can find that in my playlist. Under tutorials or beginner tutorials, and you can make yourself a couple of these, and then we can practice smiles on these as well. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is this little tiny curve, which could be a smile. I'm just going to pick up any of my carded wool, and I'm going to pull just a little pinch. Roll that very gently in my fingers, and as I'm rolling, I'm drafting outwards. I really teach you how to do this in volume 1, which is straight lines, so you could go catch that and really get a full description on that. But basically we're just rolling between our thumb and our forefinger and very gently drafting out, which means pulling out as we go, just to make this thinner. It's almost like rolling Play-Doh. When I get it pretty thin, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go ahead and tack it down. Put your fingers on either side of where you're gonna start. Tack it down. Use the tip of your finger to sort of bend this smile right around there. And if you only have a little bit left over on the end, you can go ahead and tack that in. If you have a lot left, we can pull that off later. There's only a little bit here, so I'm just going to go ahead and tack both ends right into that smile. Okay, so now, because I bent it around my fingertip, I already have my curve. I'm going to kind of hold that down so it doesn't bunch up on me, and I'm going to very gently tack it down into the curve shape. So I just went over it a couple of times, little spots. Now it's kind of tacked down and stuck to that mat, and now I'm gonna drag. I'm gonna put my finger down, my needle down, drag and felt, drag and felt, drag and felt. And I'm just going to keep doing this on whatever looks like it's bunchy or not felted in. This is the same technique that we learned in volume 1, practicing straight lines. So if you want to get really good at this on straight lines, go back and watch that one. So I'm just drag and felt, drag and felt. And you can go backwards and forwards, doesn't matter, whatever's comfortable for you. And there we have our first little smile. Let's go with a merino. I'll pick up this green. It's kind of pretty. Look pretty against the pink. And I'm just gonna go ahead and pull a thin little piece off. See how it's a really long staple length. And I'm gonna do the same thing. These tend to be tougher, so you don't have to worry so much, see, about breaking them as you do on a carded wool. If I do this on a carded wool and I pull it like this, look, it's just gonna come right apart. But the long staple lengths, they tend to be a little tougher, so sometimes they're easier to work with for lines and that kind of thing. I'm gonna do the same thing. We're gonna make this bigger smile. Put my fingers on either side of where I wanna start it. I'm gonna go ahead and get all of that in there since I'm here right now and I'm able to. Okay, and then I'm gonna put my thumb down. This is a little bit of a bigger finger here, just to get a bigger smile. Put my thumb down. I'm gonna stop it right there. Put my finger on the other side and tack it. Okay, now we have the same thing. Basically what we're gonna do is I'm gonna hold it, I'm gonna tack different areas across it so I get it in the right spot. If I don't hold it, what happens sometimes is it will just bunch up all over the place and then you don't have the shape that you want. Okay, so now it's pretty tacked. Now we can do our drag technique. So it's you put the tip down, drag and felt, drag and felt. The barbs on the tip of the needle are basically picking up any loose fibers and they are putting them in the center of where your needle is stabbing. So basically they're creating the line, picking up all those loose fibers and felting them down. Sometimes on a line it does take a few passes. Yep, and then you can just kind of go over it. Now it's all in there. I'm just gonna go over it and smooth it out a little. Go. This extra little piece, it's easier to pull off on a carded, but if you have a merino, just get your scissors and clip it right off. If there's anything left, just use your needle to tack that in. All right, that's great. So in your practice, go ahead and finish these all the way across your mat. Let's go to the next one. We'll do a blue this time. This is such a pretty blue. So I do wanna, it's a little bit larger, so I'm gonna grab a little bit longer length. I don't need that much. And do the same thing. Again, for instructions on it, really good in detail on how to do this part, watch volume number 1, it's in there. I am doing this gently, but I also want to get a good roll, get some friction there, because this does start the felting process for me. And I'm just drafting out very gently. And I'm gonna go ahead, see about how long that is. So I'm gonna go ahead and start again just the same way by tacking that down. This one is a little bit thicker, so it wouldn't hurt for us to go to our 38 needle, but right now I still have my 40 in my hand. Okay, now of course I can't go around a thumb here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my thumb and my fingers to sort of shape my curve. And now I'll look at it and see if that's how I want it. And I think that's pretty good. I twisted it just a little bit to make it thinner right there. That's not necessary, it's just something that I do. Sometimes it'll make it thinner, and then also by twisting it, it will strengthen it as well. Okay, I'm gonna check out to see where I am. I do have a lot here, so I'm gonna hold this down really tight and pull some of this carded wool off. Don't need that much. If I don't hold down, I'm gonna undo what I just did. So I'm gonna move to my 38 for this. 38 is for molding and sculpting, and it's also got larger barbs. So for this thicker piece, it's great because it'll will grab more wool as I'm tacking. Okay, got both ends down. I am gonna hold it and then start tacking. Right now I'm still dragging, but I'm just trying to get across the piece just to tack it in place where I want it. That's the key to making your curve perfect, is trying to just tack it exactly where you want it to go. And now that it's tacked, I'm gonna do my drag and felt technique. There's a little vegetable matter in there, if you can see that. You can just take that out. There's also glitter from Christmas. It's everywhere. And I'm just dragging and tacking. I'm making sure that my needle is going in the center of where I want it to be. And I'm also at an angle. I'm not going straight down. If I were to go straight down, sometimes what can happen is I can pull this fiber, and I'll just show you right here. So if I pull this fiber and then I go straight down, once I get my nice fine line over here, I'm gonna have something that looks like it's outside the line. See how that's stuck in there? We definitely don't want that. If that does happen, you can always just very gently lift it out with your needle like that. You can also use a seam ripper, which is safer than using your needles, and just pop it out. I like to go back and forth. Okay, so right now it's a nice, really good semicircle there. If I want this to be thinner, I'm just gonna keep working at it. Or you could start with a thinner piece. If you know that your line's gonna be thin to begin with, don't start with such a thick piece. Try to start thinner, a little bit less wool. There you go. Okay, let's do this one. I think this is the alpaca on here, so just grab a piece of alpaca. Again, any of your long staples will do. Okay, now I'm going up and down. So I'm going to start like this and tack in the center. Now I am still using this 38. 38 seems to be pretty good on long staple length wool, so I think I'll just stick with it. Okay, so now I'm going down and then I'm gonna come back up. I'm gonna tack at the bottom of my curve here. I don't want to tack it straight down. I want to start my curve and then just tack a little bit. That's just going to help me not lose my shape. And again, you can see I'm using my fingers to shape the curve, bringing it back up where I want it. And I'm going to pull that thin and I'm going to tack again. Just a little tack. And again, just a little tack. Just to get a line. We can straighten it all up in a minute. This does tend to bunch on you, so I'm going to go in sections here. And now I'm going to do my drag and felt technique. I'm going to hold over here. Hold over here. And I also am using my needle to direct the wool. So I want to make sure the tip of my needle is exactly where I want my line to be. So as I keep going around, you see there's a lot of loose wool, but that's okay. As I keep dragging it and I pull that wool, I'm telling the wool where to go basically. I'm using it to guide it into my line. Long staple fibers tend to want to do their own thing. You have to just keep working with it to get them to follow your rules, do what you want them to do. And just going back and forth, dragging and felting. Anything that's outside the lines, I'm just going to drag it in. Careful when you're dragging. You don't want to drag so hard that you're bending your needle. You're not trying to break needles here. Okay, so here you can see I do have a little spot that's not quite in my U shape. So what I'm going to do is I turned my mat around. I'm going to actually just felt that up towards the U. I'm going really at an angle like this, like almost parallel with the mat. And I'm just going to felt it up in there. Any way that I put my needle, like if I point my needle in a specific direction, that is the way that the wool is going to go. So now it's down pretty good. I can just go over it a little faster. I tend to turn my mat a lot. Make your mat comfortable for you. It does not have to stay in one position. Whatever's comfortable for your hand, flip it around, turn it sideways. When I do lines, a lot of times I always like to have it angled because it feels like writing to me, and that's how I write, at an angle. Okay, clip the end of this off. Gonna tack those little ends down. And make sure everything that I want is in. Nothing loose. And there you go. So you're gonna practice this all the way across your mat. The next one is an oval. Let's go with the blue for the oval. The blue's so pretty. Trying to get an idea of my size. And then I'm just gonna draft it out, roll it. So now we're going to just start at the top of the oval. I just want to hold it down on either side. Here's my 38 again, and tack it down. I'm going to come down to the bottom of the oval where I want it to end. And I'm going to tack it there. Just a little tack. Okay, so now I'm going to try to go back up and meet where I was. And you just use your fingers to shape that oval. Okay, and have these extras. I think on this case I'm not going to try to pull it because it's not really quite in yet. I'm just going to clip it. Have these extras, and I'm going to want to make sure I kind of hold it down and work in sections. So I'm going to drag and felt, drag and felt. Trying to keep the shape of the oval while I do this. Right now I'm working on the bottom. And turn it around. For me, it's easier to turn it around and then keep working my needle in the same direction. Sometimes shapes like this can be a little finicky. And even though there's a lot of loose fibers over here, my line is staying here where I want my line to be. Those loose fibers will take care of themselves once I keep doing this technique. Okay, so I'm just going to keep doing that drag and felt technique. I am going at an angle. If I see anything really wonky, just try to pull it in with the tip of my needle. Not having to hold it down anymore just because we're tacked all the way around the oval. Okay, and now my shape is pretty secure. I'm just going to keep following around and getting all those loose fibers in. I don't know where all this glitter is coming from. Lots of Christmas decorations that were made here. And you just do that all the way around until it's nice and flat and the way that you want it. And then continue these all the way across your mat. Okay, let's do a circle. Let's get some brown for the circle. The circle's done exactly the same way. Probably have too much there. Okay, so kind of pull it a little tight where I want to start it. Use my fingers to hold it, and I'm going to tack right down on the top of the circle. Come around, shape that circle with my fingers, hold it all down. I'm going to tack at the bottom of my circle. And then let that loose stuff go. Come up and finish my circle up here. Hold it down. as best you can and just sort of tack it into shape, going around the circle. Okay, see if I can pull it. I'm gonna hold it all down really tight. See if I can pull it off, and I did. Okay, so now I'm just gonna do the same thing that I did on the oval. There's a lot of extra fuzz here. So whenever there's a lot of extra fuzz, you're just going to keep that needle only gonna poke where you want your line to be. Don't poke anywhere else. Use your needle to pull it out where you want it to go. Gently though, don't bend your needle. Always very gentle with any pulling or dragging. Okay, it's pretty much in position, so I'm gonna go ahead and go around it all the way now. Start at the top again and come back this way. And this whole time I'm using that same technique. We have not moved from that technique. Just dragging and felting. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go almost parallel with the mat, and anything that I think is like not in a straight line for me, I'm just gonna push it towards the rest of the line. Do that from the inside out as well. And there you have a little circle. Easy. Okay, so next we are going to do a curve line. This one's always kind of fun. I'll take let's do green. We've only done one thing with green. So just take, depending on how thin you want it, we did a thick one, so let's do a thin line this time. Just take a little pinch. The less you have of this, the thinner your line's gonna be. And you're just gonna go ahead and see where you want it to start, and we're doing the same things. It's always the same technique for these lines. Just got to tack it down. Okay, and then I'm going to start shaping my curve, and I'm just going to tack in, pretty strategic places. Maybe around the corner here. Always in the center. I'm always tacking in the center of the wool, because that's where my line's going to be. You can use your fingers to make your shape. Just have fun with this. Does not have to be perfect in any way. You're just practicing curves. Okay, so now I'm at the end, and I'm just going to go ahead and tack the end in. Just have a little bit, so I'm just going to wrap it around my needle and poke that in. Okay, so now I kind of have what seems to be a curve. We shall see. And I'm going to hold this one down, and I'm going to start right here. Remember, the merino, the long staples, they want to go a little wonky on you. They like to bunch up. So you have to keep like shaping and holding. Do little sections at a time. And keep checking back to make sure you're in, go in the right direction. This one, there's a lot of loose wool, so I'm just gonna stick in my line. Where my line needs to be, that's where I'm stabbing. And that's where all that wool is going to end up concentrating. Dragging and felting. As I drag it, I pull the wool along the needle with my barbs on the end of my needle. Simple technique, but if you don't know it, it makes it really hard. Okay, I'm going to go back the opposite direction, very lightly, just to reinforce that line. Always stabbing in the center of the line. There you go. I'm holding this curve with my fingers, and I'm gonna just keep doing the same thing on the way up to the other curve. Just don't want to lose the curve. Okay, now we're going to work right here. See how it bunches, and you just have to keep holding that down into the shape you want it until you get it tacked down. Take the tip of your needle, pull anything over that wants to be sticking outside of the line. Okay, we started way up here, so let's go ahead, drag and felt all the way down. I'm going to felt this in. Now I'm going to just go back over and reinforce that curve. There you go. Do this all the way across your mat. Practice all of these over and over and over again. If you want to get these little balls and you want to practice on the little balls, you definitely can. You just do the same thing. You're gonna hold it, start at one end, and then shape it, poke it down on the other end, and then drag, and felt all the way over. So when you do the little round balls, it's good practice to felt on an actual object. So go ahead and get a couple of these, make small little mouths, make 3/4 inch mouths, and do it all the way around the ball. That'll be great practice for you. The last thing that I'm going to show you today is how to outline something that you might already have on your mat. So let's just say this is a little fairy door, and it just looks rough, not the way we want it to be. You know what? Let's do brown since it's a door. Okay, we'll get a little brown, and we're going to do the same thing. So just because it's on the mat and it's an object does not make this line technique any different. You're going to decide how thick you want it. I think I'm going to go a little thinner. So I'm just going to keep drafting until I get it as thin as I want it. Rolling and drafting. And this is a great thing to show you because I'm going to show you how to turn the corner here. So the first thing we're going to do is start at the bottom. I'm pulling it kind of taut, kind of tight there. And I'm going to go ahead and, not as close as I want, hold it down. And I'm going to take my 38 and I'm just going to tack it on both sides of the door. Okay, and now before I even move up, I'm going to go ahead and do my drag and felt technique. Across the bottom. I'm going to get this nice and solid here. Okay, so now I don't have to worry about that. And I'm going to take this, turn my corner. So here's my corner right here. And if I want this to be a crisp corner, I can take my needle. Let me see if I can show you this. Take my needle. I'm going to pop it right on that corner. And then I'm going to turn the wool around the needle and go up. Okay, now I don't want to release, I just want to tack it right there. So now I have a nice sharp crisp corner. Get it where I want it to be, hold it down, and then I'm going to start in little sections. Drag and felt. Little sections. And I'm just coming right up around this little door. You just want to outline it. It doesn't have to be on top of the yellow, although there it looks like it is a little bit, so I'm just going to scoot it over with my needle. Okay, and then when I get to the top, I'm just going to tack it down. It's too thin to be a line right here, so I'm just going to tack it and just let that sit and wait for my other piece. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. Pop it in the corner, pop your needle right in the corner, bend your wool right up around it, pull it tight, using my fingers to shape right where I want it to go, and then I'm going to very gently just tack that corner down. So now I have a nice sharp turn there. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to work towards the corner. I work better that. I don't like to go up. I like to come down. Left to right. It's just what's comfortable for me. So you do what's comfortable for you. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Make sure I have it pulled nice and tight. Which that is not. Okay, there we go. And then drag and felt till I meet my other piece. Pull off that extra. Sort of just pull it over and let it overlap my other piece. Get into the center of my line and drag and felt again. There you go. Now you can just trim it up. It's a little fuzzy here. And if you need to go into it, laying almost parallel with the mat, definitely do that anywhere it needs it. And that's an outline of your door. And just for giggles, let's put a little doorknob on here. Just so we have a little fairy door to end with. Go. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed that. Today we learned how to do these curved lines and also how to outline with a little bonus feature there. So it's super easy. It just takes practice. Practice, practice, practice. Get many sheets of felt. Keep doing it until you're comfortable. Get some of these little balls. Keep doing that until you're comfortable. Practice here. Do it here, get used to it, and then have confidence when you're working on your actual pieces. So I really appreciate you joining me today. This is volume 2. For volume number 3, I'm going to show you how to make very tight cylinders. And keep in mind that all of these techniques are going to build upon each other. So from the straight lines up, all the way to wrapping wire and that type of thing, you're actually going to be able to use every single technique to create a piece at the end of all of these drills, okay? So I hope you've enjoyed it. Please visit me on Facebook. It's More Fun with Felt. Make sure that you take a look at my beginner's kit. The link to it is right here in the description. So click on the link in the description to go buy my beginner's kit, and you can make a little owl and a penguin. Otherwise, if you have any questions, reach out to me in the comments or on Facebook Messenger. I'll be very happy to answer them. Okay, until next time, we'll see you in volume number 3. Bye.